the chopped carrots, you add a little salt to it. Yeah, so that is what we have already done so far. So what we are going to do next is to knead the dough. So we're going to take this is oil. Let's just put it kando kidogo. This is oil, and these pumpkin seeds, let's keep them for men. So we are mixing this in a proportion, and I want you to remember the softness of chapati depends on this process, not the process of spinning while it is in the fire. No, it's dependent on this. If you want to make a softer chapati, this is the stage that you need to take a lot of caution. So we're going to start the process. You mix it, has already been blended. I hope you are seeing. So you add little by little, then you start mixing. Get me a big olive oil. A bigger one. Let's surface it. So this is the process. Do you even pray?
You pray after you've prepared the dough.
So if the mixture of the of pumpkins and carrot is not enough, you can just add a little water, preferably warm water. Yeah. Then you mix again.
You can explain what you're doing?
Okay, I'm kneading. This is called kneading. As you do this, you ensure that it is uniform. So that's what I'm trying to do, so that we don't have lumps in chapati. But I don't think.
Then why do we mix the two to get the softer? Why? You know, it's actually saying that you repeat the secret to the softness.
Okay. The secret to softness of chapati, it's at this stage of kneading. It's not at the stage where you are frying it at the pan. So this is the stage that you ensure that the dough is soft. If the dough is soft, then it means that the chapati will be soft. So how do you make sure that happens? Like when we were using, you noticed when we were adding on the blended the mixture, the blended carrot and pumpkin. I added a little more water because the flour was kind of like excess. So to ensure that it is soft, you add water, and then at some point, if you could see, I would try to by my hand to see how soft it is. Like right now, you can just see this is soft. If you try to poke it inside with this mwiko, it is soft. So that's what is important. The process that is really important for you to know that your chapati the end product is going to be a soft one. So the second question was, why did I have to mix white and brown? So the reason why to mix white, you can actually, let me start by answering the other question. You can actually use purely Atamark, the brown one, but I normally prefer to use a mixture of both. The reason is the brown one has more, I would say, fiber. So when you are cooking the brown one by itself, in most cases you will find the chapati will tend, in as much as it may be soft, it will tend to break, kind of. So this one is more, a whiter one is more finer. So the purpose why I'm mixing them is so that the chapati, even after being cooked, they can be compact. But you can prepare Atamark by itself without mixing the two. What was the other question?
I think basically that's the question.
Yeah, it's very possible to prepare Atamark by itself without mixing the two. So if you have another...
Just a quick one.
Yes.
Can we use other ingredients other than pumpkin, or we only limited to pumpkin and carrot?
All right, that's a very nice question. You can actually use, other than using pumpkins, the other things that you can use how do you call them? Butternuts. You can use butternuts. The other ingredients that you can use that we didn't use, there's a plant called rosemary. It actually makes the chapati sweet. If you can find them, you can use them. But if you don't have the butternut or the carrot or the pumpkins, you can even use sweet potatoes. I remember in some mission we were at, we tried that and it worked out so well. So in that case where you're using how do you call it, a sweet potato, I don't think you'd really need to put sugar into it. Yes, because sweet potato by itself is naturally sweet. And I want us to remember that when we were blending, when we were boiling the pumpkins and the carrot, we had already put salt in this thing, so it already has salt. So if you don't have the ingredients that we provided, that is the pumpkin and the carrot, you can just warm water. Once you warm water, then you come and add salt onto that water. I see some people adding salt onto the flour, but I wouldn't recommend that because maybe that salt may not dissolve properly if you add it to the flour. So you add salt to the water until it's tasty. Then that water is what you use to knead. So you can be sure that your chapati will be tasty.
Okay, great. Just a quick one.
All right.
Oh, I also saw guys adding onions, I don't know, lemon.
Yes.
Things like those. At what point are you supposed to add them?
Okay. This is the stage to do that. I've not actually used lemon to cook chapatis, but I've used not lemon, onions, but I've used lemon before. At the point where you are mixing, you are kneading actually. Before you add water or even a mixture of pumpkin and carrots, you ensure that you mix the orange, the grated. I don't know, there's a term for that lemon, not the whole of it. The back of the green part of the lemon. That's the part that you mix it with unga. You make sure it's mixed properly. Then you can add water. So there are various ways. If you are blending, there are people who would prefer they grate the lemon. After grating the lemon, they mix it with the other substances, other ingredients, and then they blend it together. So there are various ways of doing it, so long as the mixture is good. So any other last question before we proceed to the next stage where we are going to divide it into portions before we can start cooking? Last question or a comment? As you can see, it's not sticking on our because of the oil that I added. Prefer to smear a little oil here and there on the working area, but I normally prefer to use flour. So I'll use flour to just put a little so that it does not stick on your working area. So this is the point, this is the place where we'll spin. We'll roll the dough. So once that is done, so I'll now use my bare hands to divide them into smaller portions. So there are people who prefer to take it as a whole and then spread it on the table and then cut them into pieces. I think I'll do that in this case so that everyone is able to see. There are people who prefer to make a pinch. So whichever way it works. So once this is done, you transfer it to your working area. Then you get a rolling spin. Put unga on top so that it doesn't stick on the rolling pin. While you'll be rolling. So this is the rolling spin. So you spread it on your working top. So as you can see, it's not sticking on my rolling pin. So you spread it, then you'll get a knife so that you cut them into various pieces that you want. So if you had a big pan, you could actually cook a chapati of this size. I'm kidding. So you can make it round, you can make it square, whichever shape that you prefer. So we are doing this just for the purposes of breaking it into a smaller pieces for the chapati.